to Scoop City. Joining us now is the Athletics Bears reporter, Kevin Fishbain. Kevin, on Sunday, we saw you tweet, and you tweet a lot of really good things about the Bears and observations you make, but this one stood out to us. You said the worst Bears loss in years, just a complete failure. Like, you just put it out there. So we know that you've seen tons of losses in your time covering the Bears. Why does this one feel like rock bottom to you, though?
Yeah, Diana, not that I'm keeping score, but 75 and 114 in my time on the Bears beat. If anyone's looking for someone to blame, you can point it right here. Go right here. I will say my best record is when Chase Daniel was on the Bears.
Oh.
Let's go.
Welcome to Scoop
2
City.
years,
You can
18,
stay
19.
forever.
I was going to say, does this loss compare to the double doink, dude, or like not as bad?
I mean, so like double doink was kind of in like the Hail Mary category of just this heartbreaking, how did this happen? You lost to a good team when you should have won. But for this, like, it's one thing to, you have the Hail Mary loss and you go to Arizona and you face, if you guys have seen, that Cardinals team is well coached. They're a lot better than people expected. They punched the Bears in the mouth. It was a rough week at Hallis Hall leading into it. Like, maybe that wasn't as surprising as it should have been. So you're like, all right, you're coming home to Soldier Field. You've been really good at home. You're facing a last place team with a rookie quarterback, and you scored 3 points. I mean, the statistical comps for that loss was Justin Fields' NFL debut in Cleveland, which was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was coaching malpractice at its peak, that game. And for us to be making comparisons to that game and that team and that situation yesterday, after like everything that we've seen over the past couple of weeks, was mind-boggling. So that's why I try not to be hyperbolic, but that's why yesterday just felt so bad.
What was the vibe in the locker room, and what the heck is going? You know what? Let's just go. I'm going to save Caleb Williams for later. What was the vibe in the locker room after that loss? Like, specifically with the players and the leaders in the locker room? Yeah,
well, I can tell you, Chase, that a couple guys left as we walked in, which, you know, I mean, it's like, I've seen that, you know, that it's not ideal, but this is third in a row, and I'm not excusing it, but, you know, there's some guys that just didn't want to have it. We walk into that room, and it's just silent. And you had a couple team leaders that you expect to stand up and talk, Kevin Byard, Cole Kmet, and then DJ Moore. But it was just, you know, like, guys I think those guys are stunned. I think they are confused. They're frustrated. I think those defensive players are probably maybe a little extra frustrated.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it wasn't a great game for the defense. They gave us too many chunk plays to New England, but, you know, like, they held them to 19 points. You should win most NFL games when you do that. So it was a tough scene, and unfortunately, it's a scene that we've now had 3 weeks in a row of these just like locker rooms. You walk in and these guys are wide-eyed, like, how did this happen again?
Yeah, how did it happen? Especially when the season started off pretty well, right? So they beat the Titans, the Rams, the Panthers, and the Jags even, and then now we're here, and we've seen so much of Caleb, obviously, on our TVs, of his body language and the way he appears to be frustrated and annoyed. What's he been like to be around, especially now?
Well, I will say, Diana, that in front of us, like the front-facing Caleb Williams, he hasn't really skipped a beat. Like, he has kind of been the same, like, very professional. He is not, like, he's not pouting. He's not, you know, he comes up post-game and he does his thing, and he expounds on plays. Yesterday, he went right up there. It wasn't even asked about, and he talked about 2 plays he missed. He talked about a sack that he took that he shouldn't have taken that knocked him out of field goal range. He talked about a swing pass to DJ Moore, and when he should have kept the ball, handed off to DeAndre Swift on third down. So he's accepting some responsibility. I think this is just, I mean, I feel like, and you guys see it on the sidelines, like, he's also got to be like, what is happening? Like, you know, where am I? I asked DeAndre Swift this today at Hallis Hall. I'm like, DeAndre, you're on the bench, and you look and you see Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, future Hall of Famer Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, and then you look at the scoreboard and it's 3 points. Like, how do you process that? I think these guys are just, I think a lot of them are just stunned that we've gotten, kind of, Diana, as you kind of laid it out, like that they've gone from post London, I mean, you can even pick it out to like the moment before the Hail Mary. Like they're about to be 5-2. They're about to get a huge win in Washington. Now, the first 3 quarters of that game were bad on all sides, and you saw the little hints of problems with play calling and coaching and game management and that stuff creeping up. So even if they'd won that game, it wouldn't have been this like statement. But still, to get from there to where we are now, like that's just like I never thought this was going to be a team that made a deep run in the playoffs. I think I predicted like 9-8. I thought like this was going to be a team. It's going to have its rookie quarterback's going to have ups and downs. It's going to be a really good defense. Their offense will be better than we're used to. Their offense is so much worse than it was last year. And last year they fired their coordinator and traded their quarterback. And it is now worse.
Bears fans,
wild.
Yeah, Bears fans are going through it, man, and rightfully so. Because for me, you know, when you draft Caleb Williams, and then you see the success that Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, both of which you could have had both of those guys. You pick Caleb Williams, and then you see the success and really the development of Bo Nix in Denver under Sean Payton, and then you play Drake May, who has been playing a lot better, and then he beats you, and your offense puts up 3 points. What's broken here? Like, I don't think Caleb watching the film is broken, but he's really reluctant to make plays and to make throws, and he has some blame in this. But the offensive play calling has been porous as well. It belongs plays. Like, do you see them? They're probably going to make a change, even if they make a change offensive coordinator wise. Do you see them getting better this year?
I mean, I first of all, I've learned in my time on this beat not to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Could it get worse? I mean, it can. Like, the Packers are coming to town, and that could get really ugly on Sunday. And then you got Vikings, and oh, by the way, national television on Thanksgiving in Detroit. Like, so yes, it can get worse. I mean, so Chase, I'll say, like, the play caller situation, is it a spark? Is it if they do change it, is it somebody that just is tailoring things better to Caleb Williams? Like, they kind of have to. But as far as Caleb goes, I mean, you've broken it down and you've seen it better than a lot of us. But like, it just seems like so many things. Like his clock seems like it's going at not even fast or slow, just it's off. His like mental clock seems off. This is a guy whose accuracy was incredible in college, and if you look at their wins, it was really good, and that is off. Like, I don't know if mechanically he's like the Bears have said that mechanics are fine. So this is just someone that just seems like he's rattled by the offensive line, and then you go through and you watch the all-22, and no one's open. And no one's, like, receivers aren't getting open. They're not getting schemed open. You're not using Cole Kmet. You're not, like, relying on the run game. You're not doing, like, Drake May. It's simple. It's play action, roll out, deep over route, guys wide open, hit him behind the linebacker, boom. Easy 15-yard chunk. The Bears, they did that against Carolina and Jacksonville. They're not doing it anymore. And you guys, here's, like, the worst-case scenario. The Bears are getting themselves in this cycle that they've been stuck in.
Yeah,
for a decade and a half.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
Like, you guys want the brief history lesson?
Sure, I love it.
Absolutely. No, yes.
All right.
Yes, please.
George McCaskey takes over as chairman in 2011. 2012, you have a new GM in Phil Emery. Well, Phil Emery did not hire Lovie Smith. He was given Lovie Smith. Bill Emery did not trade for Jay Cutler. He was given Jay Cutler. So you have those three guys together. Bears go 10-6, but Lovie gets fired because he wasn't Phil Emery's coach. So then Phil Emery brings in Mark Trestman. Well, Mark Trestman didn't draft or sign or trade for Jay Cutler, but he gets Jay Cutler. That 2013 team was actually pretty good. Offensively, it was the worst defense in Bears history. 2014 was an absolute disaster, worse than this year, worse than any year I've ever covered. They blow the whole thing up. Everyone gets fired, but guess what? Ryan Pace, who comes in as GM, he's stuck with Jay Cutler because of the contract. So now Ryan Pace has John Fox and Jay Cutler. They have a couple years. Well, then Ryan Pace knows he needs a quarterback. Well, he doesn't necessarily fill John Fox in on this whole quarterback search, and he decides to go ahead and draft Mitch Trubisky instead of Patrick Mahomes. And we don't need to relitigate that. There's a lot of things that went into that. But anyway, so the Bears have Mitch Trubisky with John Fox. He's about to get fired. He's the lame duck head coach. So John Fox gets fired. Well, now Ryan Pace hires Matt Nagy. Well, guess who Matt Nagy did not draft? He did not draft Mitch Trubisky. So Chase knows this better than all of us. 2018 was a lot of fun. Mitch Trubisky had some great moments 2018. So did Chase Daniel. And then we move on to 2019. Things did not go very well. You start to see, head coach and quarterback are not working well together, and it continues to get worse so that Matt Nagy has to go trade for Nick Foles, and then that doesn't work, and Mitch Trubisky comes back in, then Mitch is gone. Then comes 2021, and here's an opportunity for the team to reset. But no, they kept Ryan Pace, they kept Matt Nagy, they allowed them to trade up and draft Justin Fields. So you're like, okay, well, I guess you have GM, head coach, and quarterback aligned. No, 1 year, Justin Fields' rookie season, which was very ugly for so many ways. Fire Ryan Pace, fire Matt Nagy, bring in Ryan Poles, and bring in Matt Eberflus. Well, guess who they did not draft?
Justin
Fields. So Justin Fields gets 2 years with those guys, and then he gets traded. Then here we go. GM, head coach get to draft a quarterback together. They draft Caleb Williams, and it looks like it's just going to last 1 year.
QB territory, my guy.
And whoever Ryan Poles hires, assuming like it's just the head coach or who knows what's going to happen, guess who that head coach did not draft, who's going to take over next year if that's what they decide to do? Caleb Williams. And the cycle continues.
I don't mean to laugh, but that was a fantastic history lesson. Thank you for that.
Yes, claps.
For ripping through that, because when you lay it out that way, it really makes you feel depressed for the Chicago Bears fan base that just wants to see that maybe they got it right with Caleb Williams, and maybe they did, and we're still trying to figure that out. And Kevin, I feel like when I watch Caleb, it reminds me of when you're giving a presentation, and we've all had to do them before in school, where when you know the presentation really well, you just kind of go up there and you talk and you hang out. You don't really have any notes because you're just freewheeling. You're just going. You're just doing what you do. And then you had some of those presentations that you never practiced or studied or prepped for, and you have the notes and it's clunky and it's just not good. I'm not saying this is on Caleb. I just feel like he's part of this presentation where he needs to do too much and do things that aren't his strengths. And unfortunately, the weaknesses of Caleb Williams as a player are also the weaknesses of the Chicago Bears as a team, as a roster. So you mix this thing together, you blend it, and you get this. And I just don't know if there's a way out. I know people want the change. Shane Waldron is getting a lot of criticism. But what's the answer if they move on from Shane Waldron? If they decide, okay, new play caller, who's on this roster that can do this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great analogy there, Diana, because I do think, because Caleb Williams is so, he's very football smart. I mean, he's been engineered to be a quarterback since he was a child. They put a lot on his plate. And you guys have seen it. He's making changes to the line a lot more than rookie quarterbacks. And I don't know if he's doing it too much, but it's not working because the resulting play is not good. So, he's got to play, he sees something, he changes it, the new play doesn't work, and then if he goes with the original play, that play doesn't work. Literally, no plays worked yet. They had one good play yesterday, I think. And then they got a roughing the passer penalty. Those are their two longest plays, a 18-yard throw to DJ Moore and a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty. So, they have, it's a weird dynamic, Diana, because Thomas Brown is the passing game coordinator. He called some plays for Carolina last year. Well, Thomas Brown worked with Shane Waldron. That was one of the, previously. That's one of the reasons that he was brought in here. And Thomas Brown is very highly thought of. He would make the most sense. But I mean, if you're Matt Eberflus, is this a job? I mean, you kind of have to do something.
Has to do something to save his job.
But the Bears have never. So you guys know this. The Bears have never fired a head coach in the middle of the season. As far as I could tell, at least this millennium, they've never fired an offensive coordinator. Now, Matt Nagy fired himself as play caller and passed it to Bill Lazor and then took it back. Yeah, but you have to. There hasn't been an offensive coordinator fired midseason either. So we're talking about things that, as bad as the Bears have been over the years, what could transpire this week has never happened before.
Okay, but you have new leadership there, right? You have Kevin Warren, who's overseeing all of it, and he's got a lot of power over this organization, and he made the decision to keep Eberflus as the head coach. That was his call. He was part of that decision making. Maybe this is his big move. after this season of going, all right, we need to get Caleb the right guy. It's Chase, I was going to ask you actually, just seeing Caleb's strengths and knowing what he does well and seeing what he did well in college and all the things that we heard about him coming out of the draft or into the draft. If you could pick any coach right now outside of Andy Reid to step in there to help Caleb do what Caleb does best, what are we talking about here?
I mean, Ben Johnson is the guy.
You're not even going with yeah. Okay.
No, because I was with Ben Johnson when he was a tight ends coach, and everyone in that building knew, as in 2020, that he was going to be special. Just needed a chance, and look what he's done now. He's like so sought after that he's saying no to interviews and no to jobs, right? Because he wants the perfect situation. And if you look offensively, like if they fix that line in Chicago, offensively, they have the guys that they need. Defensively, they were top 10 in defense, all like through the last 10 games last year, top 5 really. And their defense hasn't played up to standard this year. But if you get a guy like that, and he's an under center, he's a spread it out, he's like a do it all. And as far as Caleb Williams goes, like what Caleb does well, Caleb's very good at pure progression passing. And what does that mean? It means like, hey, sweep the board left, right. If number 1 is open, throw it. If he's not, 2's open. He rarely gets to his third read because he's a scramble guy. What I see the Bears having him do right now, which doesn't make a lot of sense, is like pre-snap decision. So that meaning you're cutting the field in half. You have a 2 high beater on one side. You have a 1 high beater on the next. And he's getting caught in between. He's playing reluctant. He's reluctant to throw the football at times. He's passing up easy completions because it's almost like it's getting coached out of him. He needs somebody to come in and just be like, hey, just play quarterback. Just do this. Like it needs to be coached well. I agree that Caleb deserves some of the blame, but it's not being coached well right now.
Yeah, Kevin, I feel embarrassed like looking back on some of the things that we were talking about in the preseason of, this team is built to win. Caleb is stepping into the best situation. Look at Jaden in Washington. They're running this college offense. Hey, Chicago, maybe run the college offense. Maybe they're doing something right in Washington, because they seem to be having success. So we'll see if they'll be able to figure it out. You hang in there. Just maybe one thing that they can hold on hope that maybe one day they can be good. Oh my God, you would have thought I asked him for his bank account number.
That says it all.
No,
he's looking up at the ceiling trying to figure out something, Diana. Oh man.
Listen, I still think they have the guy. I still think Caleb's the guy.
Yeah.
And in all of the Bears nonsense that I've covered, you've never been able to say that. You had moments with Mitch, you had moments with Fields, you had moments with Cutler, but there's a reason he was the number 1 pick. There's a reason he won the Heisman Trophy. I still think that as bad as things have gone, and even though we're into a potential another change, at least this time, I think they have the quarterback. So I think Bears fans can take some solace in that, but I get that, hey, the Bears are 8th in the league in interception rate.
Okay, there's a little bit of hope right there.
Right? Now, you could argue that he's not taking enough chances and he's being coached to be too conservative with the football. But, yeah, look, there's still talent on this roster. Whoever, if it's a new head coach next year, Dan, as you said, they'd be inheriting a good quarterback and a pretty good team. So I think Bears fans can hang their hat on that.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.